The Conquistadors' doomed quest for the Fountain of Youth. Imagine searching for a legendary spring that could grant eternal youth, a magical source of water capable of reversing aging and making you immortal. Sounds like a fairy tale, right? Well, in the 16th century, Spanish conquistadors actually believed it was real. One man, Ponce de Leon, became obsessed with finding it. But instead of immortality, his quest led only to death, deception, and one of history's greatest myths. The age of exploration was defined by ambition, greed, and the relentless pursuit of wealth and power. Spanish conquistadors sailed across the world, seeking new lands, gold, and resources. But some wanted more than just riches. They wanted to defy time itself. The legend of the Fountain of Youth captivated the Spanish explorers. It was said that somewhere in the uncharted lands of the New World, a mystical spring existed that could restore youth to those who drank from it. The idea was irresistible, especially to men whose lives had been defined by war and hardship. And no one was more determined to find it than Ponce de Leon, a conquistador who had already fought alongside Columbus and ruled as the governor of Puerto Rico. But what drove him to chase this impossible dream? And what did he actually find? Today, we're uncovering the truth behind the doomed quest for the Fountain of Youth, the dangerous expeditions, the myths, and the deadly consequences. The search for the Fountain of Youth wasn't just a legend, it was an obsession. But like many great quests, it came with deadly challenges. A journey into the unknown. The lands the conquistadors were exploring were vast, wild, and dangerous. They had no maps, no idea what lay ahead, and only rumors to guide them. Conflicts with indigenous tribes. Native American groups had lived in these lands for thousands of years. Many saw the Spanish explorers as invaders, not seekers of wisdom. The conquistadors' violence and greed led to deadly clashes, deception and false leads. Many conquistadors were misled by myths and unreliable sources. Indigenous groups often fed them false information, sending them into swamps or uninhabitable regions to get rid of them. Despite these obstacles, Ponce de Leon believed he was destined to find the Fountain of Youth. But his journey wouldn't end in glory, it would end in bloodshed. Who was Ponce de Leon? Ponce de Leon was no ordinary explorer. He had fought in battles, governed colonies, and traveled with Columbus on his second voyage to the New World. He became the first governor of Puerto Rico, amassing wealth and power. But as he grew older, he became obsessed with finding a way to reverse time. Some say he wanted to regain his youth and keep his power, while others claim he was simply looking for new lands to conquer. The search begins. In 1513, Ponce de Leon set sail from Puerto Rico with 3 ships, convinced that the Fountain of Youth lay somewhere in what is now Florida. After weeks at sea, he landed on a lush, unfamiliar coastline, claiming it for Spain and naming it La Florida after its abundant flowers. But there was no Fountain of Youth, only dense swamps, hostile tribes, and a harsh climate. Ponce de Leon and his men marched deep into Florida, searching for the legendary spring. For months, they wandered through jungles, rivers, and wetlands, encountering indigenous groups who had never seen Europeans before. Some stories suggest that local tribes tricked him, sending him farther inland with promises of the magical water, when in reality, they just wanted him gone. But as the search dragged on, supplies ran low, disease spread, and his men began to lose hope. Ponce de Leon's quest ended not with eternal youth, but with tragedy. In 1521, years after his first journey, he returned to Florida, this time with a larger fleet, planning to establish a Spanish settlement. But the indigenous Calusa people, tired of the Spanish intrusions, launched a fierce attack. During the battle, Ponce de Leon was struck by a poison-tipped arrow. Mortally wounded, he was rushed back to Cuba, where he died soon after, without ever finding the Fountain of Youth. His final expedition became his downfall, proving that no amount of exploration, power, or conquest could defy time. But his legacy didn't die with him. The legend of the Fountain of Youth lived on, becoming one of the most enduring myths in history. The story of the conquistadors' search for the Fountain of Youth is more than just a tale of ambition. It's a cautionary story about human nature, obsession, and the quest for the impossible. Even today, the Fountain of Youth remains a powerful legend, drawing tourists to Florida, where so-called healing springs claim to hold its mythical power. But was it ever real? Or was it simply a desperate dream of men who couldn't accept their own mortality? The truth is, the real Fountain of Youth was never in the New World. It existed only in the minds of those who searched for it. What do you think? Was the Fountain of Youth ever real, or was it just a clever myth? Let us know in the comments. And if you love exploring the real stories behind history's greatest myths, check out our next video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and join us on this journey through the past. Thanks for watching.